So we've all heard it. Hell, some of us has probably seen it. Like in life, in NGS, speed kills. So what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss and demonstrate why Swift Smash Type 2 is probably better than Type 3. Swift Smash Type 3 provides the photon art the ability to generate more wand element pursuit. And you might think that because that is a very strong and damaging ability, that it is going to be the ideal choice just because of that meter generation. What we're going to see, comparing both Type 3 and Type 2, that what you see on paper is not necessarily what you get in practice. But we'll get more into that when we focus on Type 2. For the purpose of this test, we're using Verschmel. Why? Because it's 100% crit, keeps things in order, no variance, and can just see how things play out equally. There's a lot going on with Type 2. First of all, you gain a shockwave. So now when you fire Swift Smash, instead of moving to the target, you generate a long-range attack. Of course, as a consequence, you no longer move to the target, but of course you can still move while charging. The other thing that Type 2 does is that it reduces your potency about 20%. But this potency hit is offset by an increase in attack speed. And so when you compare Type 2 to Type 3 or a regular Swift Smash, the DPS, even though the potencies are different, are roughly the same. But of course, if you saw my previous video focusing on Type 2, that increased attack speed gives you a lot of abilities or opportunities that start to mess with things when we look at Type 2 versus Type 3. So what do we see? Type 2 and Type 3 essentially had the same time. Now, of course, Type 2 did beat it by a second, but let's be real, that's a coin flip at that point. Even though Type 2 has potency issues, its attack speed makes up for that deficiency. The question you might be in your head is, Swift Smash Type 3 generates more wand element pursuit. And so if it generates more element pursuit, it should be doing more damage. Well, this is where looking at what I like to say on paper DPS, or looking at things in a vacuum, is very tricky and sometimes can be dangerous. And that's why you always have to verify in reality or in practice. Regardless of the photon art type, the tech art, Swift Smash generates 600 units of wand element pursuit meter. Now, of course, there are enemy modifiers that will change this, but for the sake of this conversation, 600. If you trigger the guard frame when you execute Swift Smash, it gets an additional 100. So you have the ability of going from 600 to 700. Type 3 gives another 300. It only gives 100 for uncharge, but we're just going to focus on charge for the sake of this argument because it doesn't really change much. So Type 3 now can go from 900 to 1,000. Meanwhile, Type 2 still has that 600 to 700. But remember, Type 2 has the attack speed increase. What that means is that Type 2 has the ability to do a lot of different things within the same time window as Type 3. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the first thing is that it has range. So in situations where Swift Smash Type 3 cannot hit the enemy, Type 2 will. Not to mention, Type 3 has travel frames. Type 2 is instant. What else can I do after using Type 2 with those additional frames that I can work with? Well, for example, and you see this a lot in this video, charge Swift Smash into wand counter. How much wand element pursuit does wand counter or wand parry provide? It also provides 600. Why? Because Swift Smash, charged, and wand parry generate a level 3 photonic fury, which gives 600 units of wand element pursuit. And of course, it gives an additional 100 if you have wand guard reflect, because you guard the attack, triggering the counter, so that's 100, and then another 600. And so on math alone, take 600 from Type 2, add 700 from wand counter, that's 1300. Guess what? Within that same relative time window of Type 3, you've actually done 1300 units compared to Type 3's 1000. And now if you want to stack on the range, well, now you've added another 600 units. As you'll see in this clip here with Bujin, as he's doing his little shadow clone attack where he comes down, I've casted Type 2 Shockwave. In that situation, I cannot hit him with Swift Smash Type 3. Now as he comes crashing down, I generate another Type 2 Swift Smash, which now, of course, generates a guard frame. So now instead of 600 units, that's 700. But guess what? Because of that increased attack speed, I recover that much faster, allowing me to wand counter its 2 shadow clones that attack afterwards for another 700. So if you look at that all together, you've got 600 from the first shockwave, 700 from the second shockwave with the guard frame, and then another 700 from wand counter. So that's 2,000. In that situation, I can't hit him when he's going into the air. I can Swift Smash Type 3 when he crashes to the ground, but I will get hit, or at least will not be able to counter the shadow clones. So in that moment, I'm only generating 1,000 units of wand element pursuit, or 50% of what I would have generated with Type 2. And now this is just one situation, but you can imagine when you start to optimally use Type 2 in these situations in combat, finding opportunities to hit a shockwave into a counter or into something else. And so you have to keep that in mind, that you're generating wand element pursuit from other attacks. Type 2 allows you to use those attacks safely, or use those attacks in situations or setups that were not possible before. And so this is why you start to see Type 2 having a lot of benefits, and in my opinion, beating Type 3, because you can just do so much more with it, and that more adds up. So this is really a reminder, as whether you're playing with wand or some other weapon, to really look at what is going on, what is being done, and not just buying into things face value, because they can be deceptive. Of course, the key is understanding where those opportunities are and how to take advantage of them. But that's the whole point of this game. Getting better, understanding patterns, and getting better and optimizing. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Of course, any questions, leave them there as well. And I will catch you all next time.